A majority of Canadian homeowners who do not own homes have given up. Yeah, that is the unfortunate, sad kind of situation we're in economically right now. And I'm going to be telling you how this impacts the market and also tell you who is still in the market and what their avatars are. Now, if you're looking for some help on how to navigate this real estate market and you want to work with some professionals who knows what's going on, you could book a call with me using the link that's on the screen. That's right here. It's www.chatwithzen.com. Simply click on the date and the time that works best for you. And then when you see the prompt, fill in your name, email, mobile phone number, and the question you have for me, and then we'll chat then. Good day, Toronto. Welcome to another episode of Prime Properties TV. My name is Zhen, and I run and operate a RE/MAX in the Greater Toronto Area on top of making awesome educational real estate content just like this one. And if you're enjoying a lot of the content I'm putting out there, make sure you smash the like button and subscribe to the Prime Properties channel because, as you know, unspoken rule, free content, like and subscribe. So the article that we'll be covering today in the reaction video is majority of Canadians who don't own a home have given up. Now, when we have a lot of these kind of like surveys and polls, I'm always going to kind of like, give you the fact that, look, they're not surveying a ton of people. I think I read somewhere this is like 1,000 people. Normally it's like 2,500. So take this with a grain of salt. It's kind of like getting anecdotal advice from a realtor who does 2 transactions and their entire kind of like framework of the real estate market is from those 2 people who they're working with, or even with us, even though we work with more people. So this is a little bit better, but it's not kind of the best. So take everything here with a grain of salt. But it does kind of give you kind of a sentiment on what's happening in the ground right now. So they're saying that some 63% of Canadians who don't have homes have given up on ever owning one. Meaning if they don't own a home, they're just like, forget it. It's kind of hopeless. Now, one of the things that they outlined here is they said Canadians. I don't know who they surveyed or where they surveyed these people, but if it's coming down to affordability, if you talk to people in, say, Toronto, Vancouver, yeah, it's unaffordable. But if you talk to anyone who's in Newfoundland or the prairies, it's very affordable. You could buy a really big home for $500,000 right now. So again, when they say Canadians, I think they just mean people who want to live in the big city, meaning like, Quebec, Calgary's still very affordable, Toronto and Vancouver, right? Now, they're also saying that 76% of respondents felt that owning a home was the best investment a person can make, and nearly 7 in 10 say that. I think owning real estate is a great hedge against the dollar, and I've been saying this for a very long time. But a lot of people they're surveying right now are 18 plus, so we'll call it like the Zoomer generation and like kind of like the late millennials, meaning that if they see the parents who own real estate, they've done very well for themselves because prices have essentially tripled in the last 20 years or so. So it means that their viewpoint of their entire life is that real estate prices only go up, and they see their parents have done very well and have a retirement nest egg in their homes. It's not necessarily mean it's going to happen, and I have more on that on Thursday's video, but it's just their framework has been set up in that manner and they haven't looked outside that framework, right? Now, in this, again, this is where it's the younger generation, those 18 to 34, most of them feel that owning a home is a major accomplishment and it's a privilege reserved for the wealthy. Look, it's kind of language like this that kind of makes me a little bit sad about our generation. And I'm going to tell you more about kind of who our buyers right now are. But people between 18 and 34 are still able to buy. The problem is it's not as easy as what it once was like 10, 20 years ago, maybe even 30 years ago because of mortgage rules, interest rates, and the price, right? So when you go into a city that's growing and it's becoming a very bustling kind of community or like ginormous community, and the city has maybe more than like doubled in size in the last like 20 years, there's going to be pressure on prices like in all the big cities. Look, I'm not comparing us to New York or like London or Paris or Tokyo, but we're getting to the point where there's a ton of people, we don't have enough homes, and there's only one direction the prices are going, which is up. And that's kind of the unfortunate fact. Like this article was saying, they're saying Canadians, and I don't think they mean Canadians because if you have an average income, you can easily still buy an average home in the prairies. The problem is most people don't want to be living in the prairies, and no shade at the prairies or Newfoundland or whatever, right? But if you want to live in Toronto or Vancouver where a city has grown so much and there's so much culture there, then yeah, it's going to be expensive. It's like saying, hey, I have an average income in New York and I deserve to own a place in New York. It's just not going to happen, right? Now, one of the things I highlight over here that I think is incredibly important is that there's a TD economist saying that affordability will be strained unless the country makes significant strides toward improving the housing supply in the face of expected population growth. So this is what we've always been talking about. Like, affordability can't come down or get better if you keep kind of stimulating the market by increasing the population, right? So you either back off on the immigration, which means our actual GDP is going to come down, or you need to build more homes, but we're not building homes fast enough. We're just allowing a lot more immigrations to come in instead. And that's kind of why I'm saying on the long end, the tailwind for the real estate market is that we're allowing so many people into the market. And this is a very obvious thing right now where we're seeing a ton of demand coming back onto the rental space, which was really, really fast. It's just like that. The rental demand came back in April. It's actually pretty wild. So the last thing I have here is that someone's saying that there may be some things we can collectively do to provide more affordable homes, but the problem has always been this. When it comes to affordable homes, everybody wants affordable homes, but when it comes to the person selling the homes, they don't want it to be affordable, right? So that's kind of like the problem we have right now. Everyone wants their values to stay high, and they're protecting kind of the neighborhoods and everything, so they're not allowing density and more homes to be built, while we're still letting a ton of people coming in. So that's kind of why we have a huge supply constraint, right? And we're also pouring more demand into the market. Now, a lot of people are wondering who are still buying in the market right now, right? I can tell you, of all the buyers that are working right now, I would say more than half, maybe like 60% or so, have owned real estate, or their parents have owned real estate and they're moving, so they're able to afford right now. So it's not that like they're buying into the average home of 1.1 million, they're actually taking equity somewhere and they're moving it over and they're qualifying for a smaller mortgage, not 80% of the average price right now. Then you also have the young people who worked really, really hard. So maybe these are like 20% of the population who have been saving since they were like essentially teenagers and able to work. And they saved up like $100,000. And now, they're graduated, they're getting good jobs, $70,000, $80,000. And boom, they're buying their first entry product. And they've worked their entire life for that, right? And now they're starting off early. And then I would say the other 30% or so are people who are actually coming into the market and getting the maximum mortgage possible, right? I would say these are people who have been in the country, they're PR, and they've been working for 2-3 years, really high income. A lot of them are South Asian descent. They're looking for that townhome to basically raise their family, and they have kids, and they're on like in the early to mid 30s, and they have really high incomes where they can basically go up into the 999 because they don't have the down payment that they've saved up, but they have saved up a big chunk of the down payment in the last 2 years really, really quickly. So they're able to get into the market with about like 90% loan to value. So those are kind of like the mixtures of all the buyers that are working right now that haven't owned a home. Anybody else, I would say, that we're working with like over the 1.1 average price point, they're not really buying into it right away. They're upgrading from their condo to their home, or they're upgrading from a townhome to a detached, right? And that's kind of how it works in Toronto. You move up the real estate ladder. Nobody kind of starts off and goes, oh, I'm buying a detached. Yes, there are some people who can do that because they can afford it, but not most people do that. So hopefully that gives you an idea of what's going on. It's not that home ownership is dead for a lot of people, but it's just become increasingly difficult. And for you to kind of make that leap, you don't have to be wealthy. You just have to be very, very diligent, hardworking, and have the skills to have an high income to be able to afford to own in Toronto, right? Now, if you don't want to own in Toronto with an average job, can you go to somewhere else and actually still make it and have a better lifestyle? Absolutely. That's why a lot of people are moving to Calgary. So it's not that you don't have a choice out there. It's more so, what choice do you want? Do you want to work harder and own some real estate in Toronto? Or do you want to take a little bit easier, a better lifestyle, but own in Calgary or like some other cities, right? So there's no like right or wrong answer to home ownership. But at the end of the day, home ownership is much more difficult now in Toronto, now that we've grown as a city and prices have gotten expensive, but the wages haven't caught up. That's essentially where we are. Do you have a choice to go somewhere else? Absolutely. Do you want to go somewhere else? Can you go somewhere else? Can your job allow you to go somewhere else? Everyone's situation is different. Hopefully that gives an idea of how you can become a homeowner if you really want to in Toronto. Now, if you're looking for some help on how to navigate this real estate market, whether you're buying, selling, or investing in Toronto and the GTA, you can book a call with me. You can link that's right here. It's www.chatwithzen.com. Until next time, your move, your future. See ya! Now that I'm done watching this video, I think you should check out this video. And you know what? Why don't you check out this video too?